All right, Tim Doyle has been with us the entire way through the postseason. I'm sad to see it end, but we'll look ahead to the futures market next season, Tim. First off, let's just talk about that Dubs legacy. How do you best describe now that they've won 4 and 8?
Yeah, I think they're an amazing team for the way the game is played now. You know, you go and look at those other great dynasties, they were led by, dominant front courts, whether it was Kareem and Magic and Worthy or Parrish, McHale, and Bird. That was just a different brand of basketball. I think that's why you saw so many runs last night, because both the Celtics and the Warriors are jump shooting teams, right? They don't have that traditional big guy that they can come down the floor and be like, all right, we haven't scored in 4 possessions. Kareem, why don't you go shoot your 8-foot sky hook? So, Mark Jackson, I don't know how he does it, Tommy. He calls the NBA Finals, and he has to watch a team that he groomed. He was the first one, and I remember this conversation because I was doing shows at the time. He said, I'm coaching the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA, and people laughed at him. They laughed at how I said I was going to marry Kelly Kapowski. They laughed at me in 5th grade, okay, because I was in love with the Saved by the Bell star. They laughed at Mark Jackson, and now he has to sit there and watch a team that he coached, and both these guys are, amazing shooters, but they have such great basketball IQs, and I think the advantage that they had over other guys was their dads were NBA players, so they got a feel for the game. And I think Steph Curry, the offense is always going to be kind of at the forefront. But Tommy, they try to expose him defensively, and he was more than up to the task. You see that the Celtics shot 3 of 12 against him, struggled from 3. I thought he took charges. He's got active hands. The thing that stands out to me, and I'll remember most about this Warriors team, was their basketball IQ. I think that they're the smartest team in the NBA and not necessarily the most talented. I'm still going down with they weren't the most talented team in this series, but they knew how to play. They took good care of the basketball. They had great mental toughness. And they had, as Rudy Tomjanovich said, don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion. They had more heart in this series.
Since you brought up Mark Jackson, right, we have to talk about Steve Kerr, because if there was going to be anybody to supplant him, Steve Kerr's validated now with 4 championships as a head coach. And as a player and coach, he's now got like a third of the last 27 NBA finals. What's been the key to his success managing a lot of egos and then getting this particular team over the hump?
I mean, think about who he's played for, right? Phil Jackson, I don't know, seems like a pretty good coach, right? All into the weird Zen stuff and dealing with all the personalities, whether it was Michael, Scotty, or Dennis. And then he got a chance at the end of his career to play alongside our colleague, Avery Johnson, for a guy known just as Pop. So, I don't know, he had pretty good tutors. You know what I'm saying? Talking about guys that are up there right now. I mean, right? He played for Pop, and he played for, he didn't play for the old John Kundala. Sorry, but John, I don't think he was coaching back then. So, what great guys to learn from. Everyone needs a good mentor, and his personality, I think, fits that city. I think fits the guys on his squad. And when you talk about greatest shooters of all time, I don't know, Tommy. Steve Kerr, pretty good shooter, so he can kind of get into the head of these guys, especially the way the game is played now, where, you're going to go through shooting slumps and you're going to go through struggles. And what a great guy to be like, you want to know something? Keep shooting the ball. Man, that guy shot almost 50% from 3, and he's given me that confidence. Another thing, just aligning right at the right time. And that's what it takes to kind of put together a special dynasty like this.
2 things for me, right? Draymond Green in a high-profile leverage situation, and then starting Otto Porter Jr. for a handful of games over Kevon Looney, but Looney's still playing those minutes there. All right, before I let you go, we know the Warriors are a public team. They're the betting favorite, no surprise for 2023. But if we look at the board, Tatum and the Celtics are there at 6-1. The Nets and KD are there at 6-1. Is there a team that you like right now, and maybe one to keep an eye on this summer where we have the draft still to come?
I think the biggest wild card of all of them is the Clippers, because you got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, right? We've kind of forgot about them this year. They're the ultimate wild card, but the team that I really believe in is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think we're getting a little bit of a taste, right? And it seems like they're growing every year. Who did they beat last year in the play-in game? Golden State Warriors, no Klay Thompson. This year, who did they lose to in the playoffs? Golden State. So it seems like that's going to ultimately be the hill that they have to climb. John Morant missed the layup in game number 1. They did win game number 2. They would have been up 2-0 in that series. John ended up getting hurt in that series. I thought that was honestly the most difficult test for Golden State throughout the playoffs. And Ja didn't play in a majority of the game. So at 16-1, you know this, Tommy. I have 3 kids. And if I have a 4th kid, I am naming the kid Ja Morant Doyle, middle name Morant, okay? So I think the Grizzlies are one of those teams that are emerging right now. Golden State's going to be tough because they know how to play. But as you said, Poole, Wiggins, there's going to be some adjustment there to the roster. But I think the one thing I learned about the game over the last 5 years, I think the guys now are more individually talented, meaning give them the ball, make a really tough Euro step, shoot a step back 3. But if you know how to play and you have a high basketball IQ, whether it's Jokic, back-to-back MVPs, Doncic, LeBron's almost 40, still doing it. Chris Paul's almost 40, still doing it. Why? Because these guys really understand the game at an extremely high level. I think that's lacking in basketball right now. And I think the Warriors really exposed the Celtics that they knew how to play, and Boston is still learning.
Great stuff as always, Tim. And pump the brakes on JMD, Ja Morant Doyle, okay? We'll wait for that down the road a year or 2.
She can't keep her hands off me, Tommy. Can you blame her? I mean, geez.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.